All right, so we just finished up multiplying decimals and now we're going to be working on dividing decimals. And so when we're dividing decimals, it's similar to there's some things that we need to do as we did when multiplying decimals with moving to decimals. So we're going to talk about that today. So the objective is I can divide with decimals. So looking at these notes, either you printed them out or you can copy them down. When dividing by decimals, you're going to multiply both the divisor and dividend by the same power of 10 so that the divisor is a whole number. Okay, so when we have decimals, we actually want to change them. At least we want to change the divisor uh, into a whole number because that's how we divide decimals, by changing the divisor to a whole number. But it's not fair just to change the divisor. You have to also change the dividend. Uh, and so that's what this is saying, that what you do to one, you have to do to the other. Okay. In other words, move the decimal and the divisor to the right to make it a whole number. Then move the decimal and the dividend the same number of spaces as in the divisor. The reason is that because when you multiply by 10, you actually move over a place value, and that's by moving the decimal over it. We're moving it over a place value. Okay, so understand we're going to change the divisor to a whole number. And by doing that, we also have to change our dividend as well. Not necessarily to a whole number, but the same way we did the divisor. And I'll explain that right here. So look at this one. It says determine 1 and 71 hundredths divided by 9 tenths. Okay. And so right here it's saying you multiply. So I wrote it. This is not in long division. So we write it in long division first. Remember, this is your divisor. That's what you're dividing by. Okay. So the first thing is I look at my divisor and I want to move it from 9 tenths. I want to move it to a whole. So I move the decimal one time to the right. If I do that to my divisor, I have to do it to my dividend. So I'm going to also move it one time to the right. Then I'm going to bring it up to my decimal up into the quotient. Now, as it shows you right here, the next step would to be to actually do division. And you kind of do division. The way you did multiplication, you just multiplied them. Well, here we're just going to divide them, right? Yes, we already have our decimal and our quotient, and then we're just going to divide regular long division, okay? 9 goes into 1, no, 9 goes into 17 one time, and so forth. Now, unlike multiplication, I don't have to move my decimal ever again. That's my answer. There's no moving the decimal afterwards, okay? Let's show you another example. We're going to multiply 6 tenths by 10 to make a whole number. Then we're going to multiply the dividend uh, by the same power of 10. So the dividend is actually 2 let me change colors here, 2 and 64 hundredths. So we're going to multiply the dividend, which is 2 and 64 hundredths, by the same power of 10. And so that's what happened right here. I ended up moving it. So I moved this one over one time, and then my decimal would go right there. That's what this says. Place a decimal in the quotient. All right, so now I'm just running regular division. And the way I teach it is to go into every single one. So for example, 6 does not go into 2, so I'm going to put a 0 there. 6 goes into 26. It goes in 4 times. So 24, you subtract, I get 2. Then you're going to bring down that 4. And so 6 goes into 24 4 times. And I get 24, subtract it. That's going to give me 0. And so once I get to that 0, then I am done with that problem. I end up getting 4 and 4/10. So 2 and 6400ths divided by 6/10 is equal to 4 and 4/10. Any questions on that part? So again, we multiply the divisor until we get a whole number, and we do the same thing with our dividend. Okay, look at some other examples right here. Now it says try these, but I'm going to go and do one of these. So again, 3/10. So 3 and 6900ths divided by 3/10. So I want to make sure that this is a whole number, and I don't have a whole number yet, so I'm going to move my decimal to the right, which is multiplying by 10. Now do the same thing here. Since I only moved it one time here, I only move it one time there. So the number of times you move it is the same on both ends. Bring my decimal up to my quotient. Now I start doing my division. 3 goes into 3 one time. Remainder of 0, but then I have to bring down that 6. 3 goes into 6 two times. Remainder of 0, but I got to bring down that 9. And then 3 goes into 9 three times. So my decimal place, no remainder. My decimal place is already in the right spot. There's nothing else for me to do. So I just write out my answer, 12 and 3/10. And so just to remind you, you have to change your decimals into your divisor into a whole number. That way you can do your division, okay? So the key is change your divisor to a whole number by multiplying by a power of 10 or by moving the decimal over to the right until it becomes a whole number. Then you do the same thing with your dividend and you make sure you put it up into the quotient. All right, so I'm going to leave a couple more questions just for you to practice on, and then we'll go from there. All right, make sure you stay on, ask questions when you have a chance in class, and good luck.